some of them at that particular time, including you, including me when I'm asked of it, don't have the capacity to hold the space. And if you don't understand what holding space really is, and you don't have the capacity at that moment, you should say,
I don't have time.
I don't
or
have time.
I'm not in that capacity right now to
Right.
hold space. I will come back.
Yes, because what I had really needed was people, we've talked about this too, shoulding on people. I didn't want to share certain things. If I have a need for someone to hold space for me, I don't want them to should on me.
Hello, Shannon.
Oh, hello, Chico. Sorry, I was watching the countdown, but then not watching. And
That's all right. But
I'm here.
I do. We keep moving around and doing our episodes in different locations. Lots of times, different locations just in our house.
Yes.
I like this location. So if you're watching, what is behind me?
Oh, well, your poster.
Yes,
your movie poster.
It's my movie poster, and you say it that way, but truly, I like to point out this is my favorite gift you ever gave me.
Oh, well, that's nice. I mean, it's one of my favorites too. It's the reason I say it is that it's not an actual movie, but we had friends that would create these movie posters based on questionnaires that you would answer and whatever. And it's a cool gift. They don't do it anymore. They should do it. But
yes. But it's like if you're watching me right now, you see this. It looks like a movie poster behind my shoulder.
So I gave it to you for your 20th sobriety birthday celebration, and so it says 20th anniversary edition. Chico West, counselor by day, big city cowboy by night, and then it has little things that are personalized to you. It's really cool.
One that says clean and sober. It's kind of a take off that movie, Clean and Sober.
Yeah, Chico West in Clean and Sober.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's
good.
I like it. It's just, I can't believe that's been 16 years now.
I know. And I gave my dad one too, didn't I?
I thought you did for his 70th.
Yeah, but was it 70th? Anyway.
Yeah.
And they moved, and I didn't see that.
I don't see it either. Now that you're talking about it, it's like, whoa.
I was like, that was a nice gift, and I didn't see it in the move with all the stuff. I wonder what happened to that. Anyway.
I'm glad you bring up that your parents, because we just got back from a great wedding. It was, your cousin's daughter's wedding.
Yes.
And I love that side. It's my family now too. We've been married 30 years, but it's your first cousin's daughter, and you come from a small family.
Yes.
Chris and Julie are your first cousins, and it was Julie's daughter's wedding. And Chris and Julie's mom was your aunt.
Yes.
And their dad was an only child, so they don't really have the only cousins they have.
Right.
Are you and your brother?
Right. Yeah,
and we go up to Colorado to their daughter's wedding. It was a small wedding, maybe 60, 70 people.
Yeah.
And Haley married a guy that has 5 siblings.
Yeah, right.
So there was a lot of, his family there.
Yeah.
And I like it because we go up there, we take your parents, they're older now, and they needed our help, and they were very gracious and thankful and stuff like that. And really appreciative. It was very special to me, just the 30 years of being married to you, as your mom was really, really sweet towards me and thanking me big time.
Really, really wanted to go. And my aunt and uncle are no longer living. And so it was they wanted to represent that generation and be there,
Yes.
But it was, it was a great, and logistically it was like, planning a trip with toddlers.
Yes.
Just because logistically it's
or
like
5, 6, 7-year-olds.
Yeah, you have to help them get on the plane. You have to help them with their bags, and you have to help them
check into their room.
Yeah, get into the car and like get into their tuck them in, basically, that kind of stuff. So, but we had an awesome time. It was great.
And so when I think about that time this past weekend, it was really wonderful, and it brings me to what we really want to talk about today, because there were some moments, at that family wedding about what we want to talk about, just like, sitting here on this street, just like what's happened this week with me and stuff like that, and what we're talking about today.
Just sitting here on this street. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm glad you're getting clarity. It's like I'm gonna just put it out there what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is like holding space.
Yes, which I think has become kind of is it a would you say that it's like a therapeutic phrase that people are throwing out there, or a wellness phrase, or a self-help, like when people are like, because there is a lot of talk about, it's kind of a couple of
Buzzword.
buzzwords.
Yeah, it's just
a
like
buzz phrase.
just like
Like, I need
2024.
you to hold space for me, or
Yes.
I need to find a place. Like, is it kind of a buzzword like gaslighting?
Was in 2024. That was the
Yes.
word for 2024.
Right.
I was thinking the exact same thing. It is a buzzword, and I'm not sure it's just like gaslighting. People just throw it out there. People just throw out holding
without a
space.
real definition or real understanding, or even genuine application. I mean, if everybody uses, these wellness terms or whatever
Without knowing what it is.
as kind of an excuse to, like, if you just say that, like, the grocery store employee is gaslighting you, like if you just whatever, like, because you're checking out and whatever, you can't. It's not appropriately,
It's
whatever.
not used at
And
all.
so
Creating that.
So people throw out holding space the same way, I feel like.
And
Today.
I'm not sure, Shannon, that people really understand. And the reason I say this street is, our friends down the street, are really dear friends. He was given a cancer diagnosis, and a lot of the other friends, it's like, how do you step in when someone gets this bad news? And then I was talking about this week for me. I spent time with a man who lost his daughter in the floods.
Yeah.
Back in July, on July 4th. And I spent, the last few days with them.
So I see. So those two examples are examples of someone that just needs you or people in their life to just hold some space.
Yes. And then going and holding space happens all the time. And so your dad, I love your dad, and we're in Boulder, and there's this street called Pearl Street. And, on Saturday, there's all these shops, and it's a walking street, so there's no traffic. And your dad's struggling with walking. And we needed to hold space for him there. And so what does holding space mean?
What do you mean? I mean, holding space is not just walking a little slower or, taking it easy. That's not holding space.
No.
Which is what we physically had to do that for my dad. His hips bothering him, and he needs to get back into physical therapy and some other things. But so that's not what we're talking about, though. We had to kind of slow down. So help me understand how that's.
I think there's some characteristics to holding space. I'm glad you're asking that question. It's being present. It's simply being there for someone without distractions. It could easily, we could have gotten distracted. It's about giving them your full attention.
Yeah. It's also probably part of holding space is allowing your agenda, your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions, leaving that to the side. And so we could have had the thoughts of, here we are in Boulder, Colorado. It's gorgeous. Okay.
Yes.
There's so much to do as far as walking and hiking and being outside.
And who likes to do all those things?
You do. But I like to an extent, but I knew, like, my expectations were that I needed to hold space in that way for my dad on this trip. I had to let go of my expectations to really walk all the way up and down the street or go hiking or anything like that. It's just, you know what? I'm gonna
When
you
we
know what I
hold
mean?
space, I believe it's putting aside your agenda,
Yeah.
and that's what it means by truly being present.
And your
Is
thoughts and your opinions and
yes, and that's where that
feelings.
empathy and compassion come in.
Yeah.
You know, it's really putting aside all those things so you can be present for the other.
Right. And that all goes to, listening also, that we've lost the art of truly listening to others. Um, I think we listen now to respond. It's like
We've
about
talked about that,
before,
yeah.
instead of listening to understand, we listen to respond. And so that's not holding space.
No.
If you're listening to respond or throw out your opinion or your thoughts, that's not holding space
At all.
right.
And we see it all the time with ourselves, but we've been really, you and I have been really, I don't know if this is the right word, cognizant, really focused on, okay, are we holding space for the other? Are we holding space for each other?
Well, yes, right. I think we've been really, aware. There's been a self-awareness about holding space, because I hit a point in my life where I needed that from others. And so I had to learn how to, because I'm terrible at figuring out what I need and then figuring out how to ask for it for what I need. We've talked about that too. And one of the things I have needed in the recent past is people to hold space for me. But half the time, it requires me to explain exactly what I mean by that. And so I have this little
But
thing.
the
I'm
cool
not
thing,
going to go into
yeah,
that right now, but yeah, you see what I'm saying?
yes,
Like, I have had to investigate what it means to really hold space for others, because I've needed it myself.
yes. And I was thinking last week we were sitting here, and I had a lot going on, and I came in on the phone, and I got off the phone, and you said, you asked, hey, can you hold space? So what we're talking about is this concept that is being thrown around all the time. Oh, that person couldn't hold space. And so that comes across as judgmental. That person isn't holding space for me. And when I hear people say that, I'm not even sure they understand what the word holding space means
They
or the
don't.
concept.
And when you ask someone, I have asked friends in
And
the
a
past
spouse.
and you to hold space for me, but some of them at that particular time, including me when I'm asked of it, don't have the capacity to hold the space. And if you don't understand what holding space really is, and you don't have the capacity at that moment, you should say,
I don't have time.
I don't
Or
have time.
I'm not in that capacity right now to
Right.
hold space.
Let me
I will come back.
Yes, because what I had really needed was people, we've talked about this too, shoulding on people. I didn't want to share certain things. If I have a need for someone to hold space for me, I don't want them to should on me. I don't want to should on other people if I'm holding space for them by saying, you should do
Well,
this.
let me give you an example of what you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong. An example of the shoulding. You and I try not to should on ourselves or others on a daily basis. Uh, when you go to a friend, we have these adult children that have launched and stuff like that, and we're talking about our kids or something with another. It's natural. It's instinctual. It's almost automatic. A friend is sharing something about their kid or their spouse or whatever. It's like, you should do this. You should do that.
Yeah. Yes.
I met this morning with my accountability partner, and we were talking, and I love that he was encouraging his wife to, seek out her friends, and she goes, no, all they do is, complain. I don't want to go to them.
Right. And so I think that repels people when they just want, there are places for advice and thoughts and opinions. And
People,
if you
come to us for both of us.
Asking for that, then people can shut on you. Like, if you're asking for people to shut on you, like, how do we best get to Boulder, Colorado with my elderly parents? Like, I'm genuinely asking for advice. I'm not asking for anybody to hold space for me. Now, coming home, I could need someone to hold some space for me to talk about. Last night I had dinner with a bunch of high school friends, and it was a great example of holding space because we all know our stories, if that makes sense. So we don't have to give background. We don't have to do anything like that. But when one friend's mom fell and is in the hospital because of the fall, and it's just
like broke a hip or something.
Yeah, they're just getting older. Actually, it was the clavicle, which I was like, ooh, I know that pain because both my boys have broken their clavicles. But I don't know it personally, but I was able to, we could, no, well, I could easily should on her by saying, because of my
experience
with
as a
my
mom.
parent,
Yeah.
And I could say, oh, well, you should look into getting your mom in this rehab or this situation, or you should order her food or whatever it is. I could have should all of her, but really she just was like, I just need to say that this, and I need to say that I'm worried about my mom, and I am worried about my dad. My dad's still living, and I'm worried about my dad getting, she just wanted to share and have people hold space.
Without
what
fixing.
Does it mean that we would hold space for her? What does that mean?
Well,
what does that look like? I think we did a good job last night, by the way.
But the biggest thing is right there is define it.
Correctly.
Resist the urge to fix. When we should on someone, we're fixing them.
Yes.
So resist the urge to fix. It's this unconditional support. Unconditional support is that place where it's that truly holding space. It's that you're supporting what they're wanting to share. You're supporting them in their moment.
Why does it make people uncomfortable though? Because you want to be at a place of unconditional support and empathy,
non-judgmental,
but
deep active listening. I think that's the biggest thing is that deep active listening. How come it makes people uncomfortable? Because most people don't know how to attack their feelings. Most people don't know what their feelings are. Their feelings are coming up and they don't know how to step into that space.
Right.
Like the guy, that I was with the last few days, I didn't do anything magical, but I held space for him and he felt seen and heard. And
without judgment, because
he lost his daughter
right
in a tragic and it just I go, that sucks.
Right. And that's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And but it's also a it has the person that is holding space, it's definitely going to bring up feelings in them. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's
And
going to
if
be
you don't know how
sad.
to
It's going
attack
to be like,
your feelings,
how do I take, his sadness or his grief away?
or his
How do
anger,
I shift it? Or anger. And then you don't want to be judgmental about how that person is sharing, how they're grieving, how they're like thinking, oh gosh, don't let my personal judgment, they shouldn't be angry because they should be sad, or that shouldn't. You can shoot on people with feelings.
without even saying anything.
Even
A lot of,
advice. That's why I'm saying you have to leave your feelings at the door. You have to leave your thoughts, your opinions, your advice, like
But
everything.
here's the deal: is
But
Shannon, it's like this. We really struggle with allowing the other, like my friend that lost his daughter, or our friend down the street that has cancer, to have their emotions.
right.
They're having feelings of sadness, of despair, of incredible grief that
Yeah.
we can't even comprehend. But we go, I'm uncomfortable with this.
Yes.
I don't know what to do. I need to fix it. I need to give them some words of encouragement.
Right.
And let them work out their own process.
Right.
Give them, holding space gives them the space to work through it.
Right. Right.
And to connect. We don't do that. We don't allow them. That's where it's a big difference between empathy and sympathy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan at all about sympathy. I am a big fan of empathy. Empathy has been, I can show up in that moment.
But they used to, someone along the way used to define, I don't know if this was self-help or if this was trying to help people understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. They used to say you can't, and when I say they used to say, I don't even know who they is. Okay.
Okay.
I have no idea. Like there's no
But we can research it and find, we'll chat GPT it.
But I remember being told or taught, or someone said to me that you couldn't have, true empathy unless you had experienced the same thing. And I think that's BS.
It's total BS. It is.
So
it is total BS. It's like,
help me understand the difference between sympathy and empathy, because I was taught that you could have sympathy for someone that had been through something,
losing a child,
right? That I, very fortunately, have not experienced. So I was kind of told that I couldn't step into that empathy place because I hadn't experienced it. But I think that's BS.
I think it's total BS. And the reason I believe it's total BS is we've all have hurts and wounds. We all have pain.
Well, it's not about me. The holding space is not about me.
I agree.
Matter.
But
go ahead.
Track with me.
Sorry.
I like that. I like the pushback. But the fact that empathy is like, I know what pain feels like. I don't know their pain. My friend who lost his daughter, I know pain. I know loss. I know my ability to be vulnerable and connect there. I don't know what it's like to lose a child, but I do know what it's like to feel despair. I do know what it's like to
loss.
Be overwhelmed.
Great loss. You lost 2 dads.
I've lost 2 dads. I've lost 2 businesses. I've lost.
Yes.
I know loss, but I also know that the feeling of despair, the feeling of anger, I can connect. I can empathize right there. I don't know their specific loss, like our friend down the street that has cancer. I haven't experienced cancer,
right?
But I know just feeling that sense of unknown, and being powerless. The cool thing is, my buddy who who and I took him down to Mena Nehemiah. And yesterday, I don't know if I shared this with you, but I just introduced him to all the men in there that are in recovery and have experienced lots of loss and been vulnerable and stuff like that. And I brought him up as they were finishing eating, and I go, I want y'all to meet my buddy Blake.
Yeah.
And I go, y'all really spoke to him the other night at All City Worship.
Yeah.
I go, Blake, and I just threw him out there.
When people hold space for others in an empathetic, non-judgmental, way,
without fixing,
they can offer a hope.
Yes. And there's this love in their heart. And these men heard Blake share, and then they just gathered around and laid hands on him and prayed. And I was weeping. It was powerful. They had, although I did talk to Lewis this morning, and one of the guys
he's the director of Men in Nehemiah.
Yeah. And he's the director, and Lewis goes, one of the guys came up to him that had lost a daughter and goes, I want to write a letter to Blake. And so Blake's story encouraged this other man. It's like when we hold space for others, we don't even realize how we can connect with others. We don't have to agree with them. We don't have to, agree with what their politics or whatever they are, but can we hold space?
That's also the healing and hope also comes from the active listener that's holding space, because if you can leave your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions, everything at the door and hold active listening, use active listening skills, and then you can leave the situation like that man did. You leave the situation and you deal with your own feelings.
Yes.
Then you can have your own feelings and your own opinions and your own thoughts and process those for yourself. And then it sounds like because he held space for Blake, that he could come back and say and offer Blake the same gift. Yeah.
Gift.
Yes.
And it's, you know what the gift is? When we hold space, it's the gift of vulnerability. So when you asked earlier, how come people don't hold space, is we struggle with being vulnerable. We struggle with, seeing people as different. They did this big study on listening. And it's crazy. Active listening is not this, but they did a big study on listening, and it was primarily for the Gen Z, our boys' age. They found that what Gen Z thought listening was agreeing. I mean, how is that? That's just like what's happening in our country.
How do they define that? Like it is, but how do they define that? Like I know the study, so they're just saying what is listening, and they're like
they asked a bunch of people, and
it's when did the young people say? Did they ask them specifically like what's listening, and they said
I don't know the exact study. I need to go back and
I didn't mean to call you on the carpet for the exact study, but I can see how people think, yes, I was listening because I agreed because of. And this will make me sound like a dinosaur, but it's like with algorithms today, whatever, like people just listen. They choose to listen
to what they agree with. Yes.
Podcasts. Movies, everything they stream nowadays or whatever. They listen. So maybe that's why do you think that's why they think that's listening? Because
I think that's big time, because it goes back to holding space. We don't know how to be present with things that are really uncomfortable. We don't know how to hear the other side, to hear where someone's coming.
So much
angst,
anger, big feelings in other people when they hear something they disagree with. Like, why does that have to be such a massive? I mean,
Charlie Kirk.
I know. I mean,
it is right there.
like,
Charlie Kirk. It's like it brings up these polar opposites when actually all he wanted to do was, I mean, I really like what he did. He brought people that disagreed with him. And the cool thing about it is if you watch a lot of his videos, because he videotaped every single one, every time he didn't want people that agreed with him to come ask questions.
Yeah.
He would put the microphone down. He wouldn't hold it. He wouldn't be, in this defensive posture, ready to attack. But when he was he listened. And then if he disagreed, he had conviction. Brilliant guy. I mean, blows me away.
Yeah.
Blows me away. But he would, with conviction, tell them what he believed without condemning them.
Right. Well, I mean, I mean, agree or disagree, he did hold space for people. And that was
his whole mission.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and people didn't like what he had to say. And it's like, we're not going to like everything we have to say. We're not going to like.
And it also goes to, like, when I'm doing my own journey of really, I went through a time period. I still go through time periods, but I went through a real time period where I really needed people just to hold space for me. I didn't need advice and all that kind of stuff.
You didn't need fixing. You needed empathy. You needed active listening. You needed this non-judgmental spirit.
It helped when you hold space for other people. I think it helps them process their own feelings, and instead of having them just all inside. But I was going to say that sometimes you will say to me, if I am watching a certain news channel or reading a certain publication or whatever it is, okay? So we all know that the world is like been
polarized. Is totally polar.
Sometimes you'll question why I'm, looking at something, and my response is, I really want to understand what people that I disagree with are saying, like where they're coming from. And so even though I'm not in a personal conversation with the others, I feel like I can actively listen and hold space for that. And then I can walk away from it and be like, well, I think that's total crap. But the holding space allows me to then walk away.
As you share that, that really that convicts me right now. And so I appreciate that, because it's like in a way, it's like I know you. I've been married to you for 30 years. I know your convictions. I know the things that you stand for. And when you're watching things that are really truly polar opposite of your thinking,
right?
I like that you share that. Is you're truly holding space. You're being compassionate and hearing what the other says. Right. And when we hold space in a healthy way, we can hear what the other says. Right. We don't have to agree with it.
Right.
But we can be present and not fix it. When people
start to come at me, even with their Instagram stories or whatever it might be, so they're not personally coming at me, but when they come at me with conversation stoppers, which is what I like to call them, like, if you like the color purple, then you are a bad person or whatever. They're coming at you with these like statements that are conversation stoppers, because it's like, I do like the color purple, so I guess I'm a bad person or whatever. Like, those are conversation stoppers. That's not holding space for differing opinions. And so
I agree with you. And I love it. So let's unpack conversation stoppers. I mean, that's the I'm not getting into it. I don't want to give
super specifics, because
but conversation stoppers, I'm not even saying
they can be on any,
but it's opinion. Like you don't like Yes, conversation stoppers. A conversation stopper is you just don't understand. I can say that to you, Gina. You don't understand because I'm male and you're female.
That's the conversation stopper.
You can say
don't
that.
Don't try to tell me
how, whatever it is. But as male and female, we have conversation stoppers all the time, especially in marriage and stuff like that. You just don't understand. I have used conversation stoppers against you. It's like, I mean, just coming by and touching you. Oh, that's just what males do. You're not a male. I just stopped you in your tracks.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing. It's like we do these conversation stoppers all the time. You just don't understand.
Yeah.
That's a big, conversation stopper. When the key, I think one of the biggest keys on holding space is you really have to be mindful of your own emotions. You have to be attacking your feelings before you can hold space, because you have to stay aware how their struggle might affect you.
Right. And even a preconditioning, like when we drive your car, it's electric. Before we stop, it'll say, that doesn't, I'm saying they have to, it'll pop up before we stop, preconditioning the battery. I don't even know what that means, but I'm saying, you didn't have to say it was a Tesla, who cares? But just saying, I'm saying precondition. We have to learn how to precondition our hearts and our minds for conversations, because we can. I knew that when I have a conversation with my sweet neighbor about his cancer diagnosis, his wife or whatever, I know that that's going to bring up some feelings of discomfort for me. So I kind of have to precondition my heart and my mind for that conversation. And then I have to go into it and hold space.
I think you do understand preconditioning then.
I don't know what it does I don't understand batteries and stuff. That's what I mean. I'm just using that example without really understanding if that's what happens with the battery. But I just thought of that, like the preconditioning of our.
Well, you know how come I said it was the Tesla? You know why I said it was the Tesla?
Why?
Because when I bought the Tesla, from a political standpoint, when I bought it, 4 years ago, people were saying I'm liberal. And then in the last year with Doge and Elon Musk and stuff like that I'm a fascist. I mean, it's like
literally got a label based on a car. And you wanted the car because you're all up in you wanted a moped.
No, but I spent some time studying Elon Musk, but when I bought it, people called me a liberal. And then with Musk doing the Doge stuff, they threw me under the bus and said I was a fascist for having it. It's like, because I had a car.
Right.
I mean, it was crazy that
no one even listened to your reasoning for having a car.
and so when we talk about
no
holding,
one really knew where you stood.
Yes.
Because of your car.
And so
it's very weird.
It's really non-judgmental. People judged me because of my car.
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago, they gave me a hard time.
In two very different ways.
And the car has not changed.
Right.
And so that's how come I threw out there, as you were talking about holding space, it became very judgmental and very like, oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just like
I was kind of scared for you for a time period like that.
When they were burning the Teslas. Yes.
Yeah, and keying them. And I'm like, wait, don't ruin his car.
Yes. I mean, and so it's like, people don't know how to hold space. It's because I had a car, because the guy who created the car, people didn't like. And so I'm thrown under the bus.
Right.
It's like for you and I, it's like, I'm not going to speak for you. I'll speak for me. I really liked what Charlie Kirk stood for. I liked all those things. And yet I found myself, I liked him for a long time, but there was parts of me that didn't want to say that because I was fearful of judgment. People wouldn't hold
Well,
space
because
for me.
within that whole arena that he stepped into, there are many, many, many conversation stoppers.
Yes.
And so it's a tough, because it's like, oh, so I mean, that's a whole, people are going to make assumptions, kind of like you. I guess you're either a liberal or a fascist. Like, I mean, this is like you're. I mean, and so when you comment on something like the Charlie Kirk stuff, people automatically, they're not listening. They're not going to listen to
They're going to
you,
put me in a category
whatever that might be.
and really not know. So when we stop holding space, they're not going to know my heart. They're not going to know. They're not going to know that compassion. They're going to assume those things.
Right.
That has happened here in this room we're sitting in. Our son's 26 now. When he was 8, we were going to a fundraiser for the elementary school.
Yes.
And there was a couple that son was 8 also. And they assumed, since I owned, sober living homes and was in the treatment business. And this was when Hillary Clinton was running for president. And they assumed from what I did, they didn't get to know me, that I would vote that way. They assumed, since I didn't drink, he even said in here at 1:00 in the morning, "Hey, bring out the pot." They thought I would, at least I wasn't drinking. I'm sure he smokes pot.
They said, "Oh, you're like sober, like whatever." I mean, this was before California sober too.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
and so
you're like, yeah, I'm pretty substance free, but
and so that's why the poster. That's why all those things is like. All this stuff of holding space is it doesn't mean that you need to get on their bandwagon.
Check your assumptions, check your
judgment,
thoughts, feelings, everything,
and let people process the way they process.
Right.
Don't tell them how to process. See, we've lost the art.
Actively listen, and listen is not agreeing. Right.
But before you can do that, before you can hold space, you got to attack your feelings. You got to know what's going on with you.
Right.
You got to know that, hey, when you watch some of these shows, my emotions are coming up. I'm not holding space, and I'm coming across judgmental.
Yeah.
And I do come across judgmental and make comments about some of those things. I hope that holding space can be more important than having your opinion, your judgments come in, to be present for the other. When we're present for the other,
and not just throw it around as an excuse, like or they just won't hold space for me or whatever. Really understand.
Yes, and I love when, in a crazy way, I love when people say that they don't hold space for me. It's like, do you know how to hold space for them? Do you understand what that really means? What do you mean they won't hold space for you? Are you coming out attacking? Are you coming out with guns ablazing? How come they would hold space for you? Are you asking for it? You did it last week. You asked me, "Hey, I need you to hold some space for me, and let me know when you can."
Yeah.
And so you didn't ask me to hold space right then and there. I think that's where people say, yes.
Timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think people say, "Hey, hold space for me," but they don't allow the person to get centered, to find out what emotions they're having, to be able to not have that fix it mentality. I mean, if you're a natural fixer, it's like you got to turn that away. When you asked me, I knew, okay, I need to not be the counselor, the coach. I need to just be the husband.
Right.
And I believe, not to toot my own horn, but I believe I showed up and held space for you in that moment last week.
Yeah.
And so that becomes that art.
It is an art, and it's kind of, and this will go down another rabbit hole that we can discuss sometime in the future. But it's like there's an art of debating also, and that is a certain type of listening and responding. And that's not what this is, but it's taking time to really process, kind of in a debate situation, you're kind of like
boom, boom,
hitting buttons. Like you got, okay, done, that kind of
getting all your points across and stuff like that.
Right.
But holding space,
debate requires active listening of such, but holding space requires reflection.
Big time. And so it's like holding space is just paraphrasing back sometimes what you hear.
Right.
It is coming across really non-judgmental. It's having, if you're in the presence of the other, not just on the phone, but if you and I are present with each other, it's having a non-judgmental posture. It's offering, unconditional support.
Yeah.
It's not getting uncomfortable if they're having deep emotions. So, but the key is how do I know what I'm feeling? And so it gets back to, if you really want to actively listen, you gotta really have a check-in with yourself and go, attacking your feelings. What feelings am I having about my friend who has cancer, or about my friend who lost a daughter? Right. It's like
that preconditioning.
That preconditioning, just like what you said.
I just thought of that.
Yes, I like that, but I like
it for myself when I tell myself, okay, I'm going to precondition.
Because we've had friends. What do I say? I go, You don't have to say much. Just give them a hug.
Right.
You can say that effing sucks.
Yeah.
He knows it, and you're just boom.
No, right.
This sucks.
Yeah. You have to be ready to step into discomfort.
Or step into the messy middle.
Yeah, right.
It's like wild how that happens.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think
that, so we've kind of framed it up well.
We've defined it, and I think we can
let's just go back, be present, empathy and compassion, understanding their feelings, non-judgmental listening.
Yeah.
Creating a safe environment.
Yeah.
And then listen actively. Look at the nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Avoid giving advice.
Yes.
Validate that, man, this sucks, or that, man, I can understand. I'd be angry too. Practice patience.
Yes.
Do all those things, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. I think it's good.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, everybody have a good weekend.